For every young forward, being bestowed with your club's number 9 shirt is the ultimate goal. It is a sign from your manager that they believe in your ability to lead the line week in and week out, scoring goals and being the main catalyst for the success of the team. Some of the most iconic players in the history of the sport have carried the burden of the number 9 on their backs, with the likes of Ronaldo, Gabriel Batistuta, Shearer, Hamm, Birgit Prinz and Filippo Inzaghi proving to be prolific at both club and international level. The tradition has continued on into the modern day, with current greats and future legends with a countless number of examples to choose from. However, there is one club where the number 9 shirt has proven to be more of a burden than a blessing, with those who have worn it failing to live up to the responsibilities and expectations that it carries. Since the beginning of the Premier League era of the English football in the 1992-93 season, Chelsea Football Club, one of the country's biggest and most successful sides, have been seemingly unable to find someone capable of breaking the curse that surrounds their number 9 jersey at Stamford Bridge. That's not to say the club hasn't had any prolific goal scorers during that time frame, however none of those did so wearing the number 9. So is the shirt really cursed, or has the whole subject been blown out of proportion? In this video, we will look at every player to have come through the doors at Chelsea and taken on the mantle of wearing the number 9 throughout the Premier League era, and see whether or not a curse does indeed exist, or if there are any other factors at play. The genesis of the so-called curse began with the very first Chelsea player to wear the shirt during the Premier League era. Irish forward Tony Cascarino signed for the Blues in February of 1992, the last season of the English First Division being the country's top flight. He scored 2 goals that season, however his time in West London would be plagued by injury, seeing him only register 40 league appearances in his 2 years at the club, finding the net a total of 8 times. He would join French side Marseille in 1994, where he would finish as the Ligue 2 top goalscorer in the 1994-95 season, scoring 31 goals. Following his arrival from Stoke City for a fee of £1.5 million in 1993, South African-born forward Mark Stein was given the number 21 shirt and started his career at Stamford Bridge in fine style. Stein set a Premier League record, scoring in 7 consecutive matches between December 1993 and February 1994, a record which stood until 2002. Following Tony Cascarino's departure, Stein was handed the vacant number 9 shirt and began to dispel any talk of a curse as he scored a thoroughly respectable 25 goals in 63 total appearances for the Blues. A true icon of Italian football, Gianluca Vialli joined Chelsea on a free transfer from reigning European champion Juventus in the summer of 1996 and was given the number 9 jersey by then manager Ruud Gullit. Vialli quickly adapted to life in England, scoring 11 goals in his first season at Stamford Bridge. He would take to the pitch a total of 88 times for Chelsea, finding the net on 40 occasions, with his goals helping the Blues to an FA Cup, League Cup and UEFA Cup Winners' Cup throughout his playing career. Vialli would retire from the game at the end of the 1998-99 season, during which time he was appointed player manager following the sacking of Gullit. He would remain in the Stamford Bridge dugout until 2001, leaving to manage First Division side Watford. Following a 5-year spell where he scored 59 goals in 161 appearances for Blackburn Rovers, which included a Premier League title win, Chris Sutton was signed for a fee of £10 million to take over the goal-scoring duties of his predecessor, now manager, Gianluca Vialli. Despite his prolific record throughout his career up to that point, Sutton flopped in West London, only lasting 1 season where he scored just 3 goals in 39 total appearances. He was sold to Celtic at the end of the season, where he would once again find his goal-scoring form, scoring 86 goals during his 6-year stay in Glasgow. Signed for a then club record fee of £15 million following an incredibly productive season at Atletico Madrid, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbaink hit the ground running upon his return to English football, scoring on his Chelsea debut in the Community Shield. He ended his first season with 26 goals in 41 appearances and finished as the club's top goalscorer in 3 of his 4 seasons at Stamford Bridge. Despite never winning any major silverware at Chelsea, Hasselbaink left his mark on the club and was arguably the last forward to wear the number 9 shirt to be truly prolific, amassing a total of 87 goals in 177 total appearances. Following the arrival of Jose Mourinho in West London during the summer of 2004, Matej Kejman joined a number of high-profile signings at Stamford Bridge that season, being given the number 9 shirt, vacated by Jimmy Floyd Hasselbaink. Kejman was one of Europe's most prolific marksmen at the time, where he had scored a staggering 129 goals in 176 outings. Unfortunately for the Serbian, he was never able to capture even a modicum of his previous success. He only lasted a single season at Chelsea, finding the net 7 times in 41 total appearances. One of his generation's most renowned goalscorers, Hernan Crespo arrived at Stamford Bridge in August 2003, but didn't receive the number 9 jersey until 2005, having been loaned to AC Milan for the 2004-2005 season. In his first season at Chelsea, wearing the number 21, Crespo put up a respectable 12 goals in all competitions, going one better the following season, now with the fabled number on his back. However, Crespo never really settled in West London, seeing out the rest of his Chelsea contract on loan back in Italy after scoring a total of 25 goals in 73 appearances for the Blues. In one of the most bizarre occurrences in the history of the number 9 shirt at Chelsea, the next recipient wasn't a striker, nor even a midfielder. Dutch central defender Khalid Boulahrouz was given the shirt following his arrival from Hamburg in 2006, as it was one of the few first-team squad numbers available. After a promising start to his Chelsea career, several injuries and a drop-off in form eventually forced him down the pecking order, leaving on loan to Sevilla the very next season. Boulahrouz made 20 appearances for Chelsea and failed to find the back of the net, which, being a central defender, is somewhat understandable. The Chelsea hierarchy seems so enamoured with the idea of keeping the number 9 away from a traditional recipient that they did it again the following season with the arrival of central midfielder Steve Sidwell. Once again, however, Sidwell would only last a single season at Stamford Bridge, continuing a now unwanted trend of whomever was bestowed the shirt would only have it for 1 year before being moved on. Sidwell at least did find the net once during his 25 appearances, before being sold to Aston Villa the following year. Without wanting to sound overly critical of the then 19-year-old Argentinian, the kindest thing that could be said about Franco De Santo's time wearing the number 9 jersey is that it was at least back with someone who played as a striker. De Santo again only lasted a single season at Chelsea before being sent out on loan to Blackburn the following year, making 16 appearances and failing to find the net once in a competitive match. At this point, the talk of a curse surrounding the shirt was becoming louder and more pronounced. Considering the fate of the past few players to wear it, the conversation was at least one worth having. Following the departure of De Santo, the number 9 shirt at Stamford Bridge went unclaimed until the arrival of Liverpool forward Fernando Torres, for a then British record transfer fee of £50 million. The Spaniard had been a phenomenon at the Blues' Premier League rivals, so surely he would be the one to break the so-called curse, despite Torres having his worst season in a Liverpool shirt. Unfortunately, the fee seemed to weigh heavy on the shoulders of El Nino, going 903 minutes before his first Chelsea goal. Torres would spend 3 more years at Chelsea, scoring 45 goals in 172 appearances, the highlight of which being that infamous strike against Barcelona in the Champions League semi-final. Torres stayed at Chelsea until 2014, before being loaned out on a 2-year loan spell to AC Milan. The jersey went on hiatus for another season until the loan signing of Colombian forward Radamel Falcao in 2015. Falcao had made his name throughout the late 2000s and early 2010s as one of the most prolific goalscorers of his generation, so surely he could restore some prestige to the shirt. However, Chelsea had signed Falcao on the back of a disastrous loan spell at Manchester United the previous season, and with him becoming more injury prone over the preceding years, the man who was once the epitome of what a number 9 should be, failed to make an impression on the club during his spell, making only 12 total appearances and scoring a single goal against Crystal Palace in a 2-1 defeat. Once again, following the departure of Falcao, the number 9 shirt was vacated until the arrival of a new club record signing in the form of Spanish striker Alvaro Morata. He finished his first season at the Bridge with 15 goals in all competitions, a fairly respectable tally for his first season in a new league. However, Morata would be out the door only 6 months later, following a period where he scored 9 goals in 24 appearances. He was sent to Atletico Madrid on an 18-month loan deal and would join them permanently in 2020, leaving West London with an overall record of 24 goals in 72 outings in Chelsea Blue. With Alvaro Morata departing the club on loan during the January transfer window, Chelsea needed a replacement to at least see them through to the end of the season. Enter Gonzalo Higuain, a World Cup finalist with Argentina, who had amassed a reputation throughout his career as a world-class forward, capable of scoring goals in a variety of ways. It would once again prove to be the case that despite the reputation, the weight of being the Chelsea number 9 would be too much for even the most prolific of strikers. During his 6 months at Chelsea, Higuain had a largely forgettable spell, netting just 5 times in 19 games. After several failed foreign stars, Chelsea would eventually turn to one of their own to try to expel any rumours of the curse surrounding their number 9 shirt. Tammy Abraham made his first team debut in 2016, but would be sent out on loan to Bristol City, Swansea City and Aston Villa, performing admirably throughout each of those loan spells, particularly at Villa. He would be handed the number 9 upon his return from Villa Park in 2019, and proved that he was capable of stepping up to being the main man up front. Abraham would score a total of 30 goals in 82 games throughout his entire Chelsea tenure, before moving to Roma in 2021 for a reported £34 million. The main reason behind Tammy Abraham's departure was primarily due to the return to Stamford Bridge of Belgian star Romelu Lukaku, who had left the club permanently in 2014 following a 3-year spell. 7 years and a plethora of goals later, Lukaku returned for a club record £97.5 million fee, with the hopes that he would be the one to lead Chelsea's line with the same proficiency he had at his previous clubs. His dream return would quickly become a nightmare, as Lukaku only lasted a single season at Chelsea, scoring 15 goals in 44 appearances before being loaned back to Inter Milan for the following campaign. He is still contracted to the Blues, but it is unclear what his fate will be upon his return. With the departure of Lukaku in the summer of 2022, Chelsea would look to a proven Premier League talent to step into the Belgian shoes. Former Arsenal forward Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang arrived from Barcelona for a reported £10 million, whom he had joined for free just 7 months earlier, with the intention of reclaiming the number 9 shirt and leading Chelsea back to the top of the table. Aubameyang joined the Blues during a period of rampant upheaval, with new ownership and a raft of new signings. Despite all of the change surrounding the club, however, the curse of the number 9 has stayed the same, as Aubameyang, to this point, has only scored 3 goals in 21 appearances. With all that being said, is there enough evidence to prove that there is indeed a curse surrounding the number 9 shirt at Chelsea, or is there a much more logical and rational explanation? Arguably, the two most successful players to wear the shirt, Gianluca Vialli and Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, came before the arrival of Russian oligarch Roman Abramovich. Despite the overwhelming success that Abramovich brought to the club during this time at the helm, it's fair to say that, especially in the early years, the club's recruitment was scattergun to say the very least. During the Premier League era, the club has gone through 24 different managers, including caretakers, with many of those incorporating a different style of play from their predecessor, forcing the entire squad to learn a whole new way of playing. This type of constant upheaval is not conducive to getting the best out of the playing staff, particularly for strikers, as there is no consistency in regards to tactics and structure. For example, during his time at Stamford Bridge, Carlo Ancelotti favoured a 4-4-2 diamond, deploying a defensive midfielder along with 2 box-to-box and a single creator ahead of them, with his fullbacks pushing on to provide width into a narrow midfield. Following Ancelotti's departure, Andre Villas-Boas would arrive in the dugout, favouring a vertical style of play. His 4-2-3-1 formation involves circulating the ball from a high defensive line through a fully creative midfield and in towards the forwards, resulting in a quick and direct style of play. While you could say that yes, it is both up to the player and the managers to adapt to any new style of play or tactical alterations, it is certainly a case of being much more easier said than done. Focusing solely on strikers once again, those wearing the number 9 shirt aren't the only ones who have struggled leading the line for the Blues. Many world-class forwards have passed through the doors of Stamford Bridge, only to walk back through those same doors with their reputations shattered. The likes of Andrei Shevchenko, who wore the number 7, only managed 22 goals in 77 games. Claudio Pizarro, number 14, bagged 2 goals in 32 appearances. Timo Werner, Michy Batshuayi, Adrian Mutu, Nikola Anelka, Alexandra Pato. Just some of the names brought in to star up front, but who ultimately underwhelmed or outright failed, despite going nowhere near the so-called cursed number 9. Coming to a club like Chelsea has its own pressures regardless of how much has been paid for your services, but when the club has parted with a substantial amount of money to bring you in, then that pressure has been increased tenfold. Whether we like it or not, there is a line of thinking in modern football that the more you cost, the better you should theoretically be. Obviously this is not the case, as there are a number of variables that affect the transfer market. However, it is a statement that continues to persist. Fernando Torres cost the Blues £50 million, a then British transfer record. Romelu Lukaku, £97.5 million. Andrei Shevchenko, £25 million. Alvaro Morata, £60 million. These types of fees place certain expectations on a player, justly or otherwise, which only adds to the pressures which they already face signing for one of the biggest clubs in Europe, and to be expected to be the main man to bring success. On top of that, only giving the majority of these players a single season to adapt before losing faith and moving them on is not only detrimental to the club, inevitably repeating the same expensive process all over again the very next year, but on the future of that individual player, with their confidence being placed at an all-time low and potentially affecting their career going forward. Is there a curse surrounding the number 9 shirt at Chelsea? Honestly, no. Has there been a failure by those at the club to recruit and to integrate those acquisitions into the team? Yes. Chelsea are a club that demand immediate success. The past 20 years has entitled the fans and the club to that mindset. However, the mismanagement of talent, whether that be in the recruitment or development of homegrown stars, is the biggest issue facing the club in regards to getting results on the pitch, especially when it comes to the forward line. Going forward, Chelsea management must figure out how the best to integrate these forwards into the side, whilst Chelsea fans must temper their expectations and allow these players the chance to prove their worth without writing them off after a few bad games. So what do you think of the situation regarding the number 9 shirt at Chelsea? Do you really believe that it's cursed, or is it something else entirely? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you did enjoy this video, please do click that like button and subscribe to Full Time Football. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you as always in the next one.